Hey guys, Third Asbury here with Revital Outdoors, bringing you another exciting podcast. Tonight, we're going to go to the Savannah River Division of the BFL with Major League Fishing. We're going to talk to Mr. Michael Anders. Michael he won the tournament last year on Lake Hartwell, so he's the defending champion for this year for the April 2021 event. So we're very, very excited to talk to Michael. Before we get started, as always, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you get notified when all of our content is dropping. Also, make sure you check us out on Facebook and Instagram. That's going to be Revital Outdoors. If you've never heard of Revital Outdoors, we're a premium CBD company. We make premium CBD products for all the outdoor enthusiasts. We're THC-free, made right here in America, and you can purchase all of our products on our website. So check us out, www.revitaloutdoors.com. And also, this is Red Crest Week, so any of you listeners out there that are in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area or plan on coming to Red Crest, be sure to come to Tulsa. Check us out, booth 2214. We got a lot of great things happening this week. We're going to have a $500 giveaway. We have a show special going on. We will be selling product in the booth. All of our pro staff will be there. So a lot of exciting things happening this week with Red Crest. So that being said, let's go ahead and bring him right into the podcast, Mr. Michael Anders from the great state of South Carolina. How are you doing this evening, bud?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing great, doing great. So, well, Michael, let's get right into it. Lake Hartwell, one of my favorite lakes on earth. A lot of great fish catching can happen there. A lot of great spotted bass live in that lake. So you won the tournament last year. So talk to us a little bit about your win and what you like so much about Hartwell.
Well, the tournament that I won was actually towards the end of April, but, I live here at Hartwell. I could hit it with a rock. I spent a lot of time on it and just love the lake, man. It's where I grew up fishing, and it just suits my style.
Okay. So into April, what were the fish doing? Were you targeting fish that were spawning? Were you targeting post spawners, still pre spawners? There's a lot of different things that they could have been doing. So what was kind of your game plan going into that tournament?
So the end of April, it was post spawn primarily. Our shad spawn had started. Our herring spawn had started. It was going really, really good. And, the majority of my tournament was just running that shad and that herring spawn pretty much all day long. And it was wide open. It's about as good as you could see. And I think the tournament coming up here in the 1st of April could see some of that too.
Okay. I got you. So were you targeting just areas right outside of spawning bays, or what was kind of the structure where you were catching those post spawners? I know they like to go up shallow and then kind of move back deep, maybe chasing those blueback herring that live in the lake. So kind of.
Yeah, usually, it's no secret around here. Your long, red points, anything. This year the water's really high. We've had heavy rain. Seems like we get one heavy rain about every week. So now our water's at or just a little above full pool with a little stain. So when that happens, a lot of times we'll see the bait fish and herring, they'll spawn in the pockets, which can scatter the fish out a little bit and make it a little bit more difficult to locate a big school, but they're still doing the same thing. And if you cover enough water, I believe you could really make something happen.
Okay. Thinking about your win last year, how many keepers did you catch?
Oh gosh, probably 25 to 30. It was unbelievable. And it never it was right out the gate. The fish were biting and they never let up all day. It was a really, really fun tournament. But Hartwell's an awesome place. Whenever the bait fish are spawning, it just comes to life. And if you sit down on the right spot, you can get well quick.
Right. So okay. Based on what you're telling me here, it sounds like you were covering a lot of water, fishing a lot of history, and throwing reaction baits.
That's correct. Yeah, a lot of top water walking baits. I don't think it matters. Anything chrome and anything big and anything that you can just cover water with and just move on to the next one. I mean, it's no secret. It becomes a merry-go-round of fishermen. I try to do something a little bit different. I try to move out just a little bit more because I feel like sometimes there's some hungry fish out there where people's boats are sitting, and I was able to win. This is actually that was the 3rd BFL that I was able to win in the shad spawn at Hartwell. And 2 of the 3 times I was able to catch some key fish out where people's boats are sitting. And I think it's just everybody gets keyed in shallow. I think those fish get beat on for a few days, but they're out there. You just got to keep an open mind, throw in every direction when you get up there and try to cover a lot of water.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's not a whole lot of grass in Hartwell. In my experience with the shad spawn in a lake that's covered with a lot of docks and covered with a lot of rock, is they're going to be, what'll happen is you'll get up on those rock, riprap banks or natural rock banks, and you'll see them flicking at the surface. Is that kind of what you were targeting, looking for those
Yes.
areas? And
Yes.
then also, were you just completely avoiding the blueback herring, or is that what was up spawning?
No, I wasn't avoiding the herring. I believe the fish that I caught were on the herring spawn. I'm certain of it. You can see them just like you're talking about. You can get up there and see them, and when like I said a minute ago, when it gets so high, even the herring will be spawning everywhere along the banks, just even all the way through the pockets. And you really have to. You got to put a little more time in when it gets high like this, because it can make it a little more difficult to find. There's more territory to cover.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, okay. Just out of curiosity, when you left the boat ramp last year, how many rods did you have on the deck?
Probably 7 or 8. Probably more than I needed to.
All right. So kind of had it honed in a little bit. And what do you predict for this year? I know the tournament's a little bit later this year than it was last year. Do you predict anglers can still run and gun, target those post spawners, shad spawn still going to happen, or do you think it's going to be completely different?
I think the shad spawn is going to be real iffy, and I say that because if you look at the long range forecast, there's some really cold nights forecasted towards the end of this week, and whenever they're first getting started, you get a cold snap or a cold night, it'll knock them off just as quick as they got there, and it'll kill the bite. I think there could be a wild card this year in that with the water up like it is, there's more stained water in the lake because we keep having these heavy rains every week, and it's got your 3 major creek arms are really stained right now. So I'm gonna say the wild card is somebody's gonna pick up a spinnerbait and hit the right stretch of bank along one of those 3 major rivers, and everybody else is gonna be fishing for second, just based on my experience. You gotta. That's for the first tournament, I think, because they'll run into fish that are coming to spawn and then fish that are leaving. And our first wave got here when the classic guys were here. Our first wave of spawning fish were showing up that week. So I think you'll have a mixture of pre-spawners, post-spawners, and spawners. So I think a spinnerbait in the stained water somewhere, somebody in practice is going to be like, I don't know why they're there, but they're big, and the tournament's going to be over in about an hour Saturday morning.
Right. I got you. So, well, Michael, you've given us a lot of great insight to Lake Hartwell this time of year. The post spawn, something that I'm unfamiliar with. You don't really hear about Hartwell and the post spawn. So really great insight. Before we let you go, I do have a couple more questions. What do you think about a co-angler fishing this tournament coming up in the next couple of weeks in Hartwell? What would they need to be prepared for?
I don't know what the maximum rod limit is per boat, but I'd tell them to have as many rods as the rules allow, because I think you could draw a guy that's going to be ain't no boaters ain't gonna want to hear that. So, I think he needs to pack a 300-pound tackle box and bring 22 rods if the rules let him, because you'd need anything from a wacky worm to a top water to a Carolina rig, because I could see anything happening. Just be prepared. I would say be versatile. Be prepared to be in and around, old school pocket fishing, or maybe be prepared for a guy that finds someone or some fish way up the rivers, that are already chasing bait, and where that water's been a little warmer, or be prepared to catch a pre-spawner or something on a jerk bait.
I got you. So, all right, well, cool. Well, Michael, that's obviously not what a lot of boaters want to hear, but hey, you know what that tells those co-anglers?
Yeah, be ready.
And what Michael's saying, you co-anglers out there that are watching this, bring stuff that's going to raise your volatility of getting bites. I mean, take baits out there that's going to get you a lot of bites. So I'm talking about a finesse spinner bait, maybe a swim jig, maybe a silent crankbait, maybe a Carolina rig, drop shot. Just take stuff that's going to get a lot of bites throughout the day. You should be good. So
bring the whole
for sure.
Yeah, bring the whole kitchen sink and get all that in your boater's way. So that way, when he gets ready to move to the next spot, there'll be 30 rods.
That's hilarious. I love it, Michael. So, well, man, I really appreciate you coming on our podcast for Revital Outdoors. Before we let you go, checking out your Facebook and looking at your profile. I know you got a great family, a lot of support system out there that supports your tournament fishing. So, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to or a thank you before we let you go?
Oh yeah, first of all, thank y'all for for letting me on to see how many lies I could tell you before I hang up, and then yeah, always appreciate the family. They always support, and friends and everything support the effort. So thank you for what you do, and appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. So, well, Michael, again, good luck to you this coming week. Again, for all the listeners out there, you've been talking to Mr. Michael Anders, the winner from last year's Savannah River event on Lake Hartwell. So thank you for coming on, Michael. Be sure before you get off here, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you get notified when all of our content is dropping. And again, as always, I'm Theron Asbury. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. Be safe out there. Good luck to all the BFL anglers fishing this year. And we'll talk to everyone very, very soon.